Hello everyone, my name is Onyagu Chukwemeke. Um, on today's broadcast, I want to talk to you about the kind of restructuring that will most definitely work for Nigeria. The kind of restructuring that will most definitely work for Nigeria. I'm going to break it down into studies I have done. I compare this new restructuring to what we had, because we had something like that in 1960 to 1966 before we broke it up and we started practicing this unitary system that we have today. I will also talk about the right model and the fear of the North and why they are holding back on restructuring. These are the four nuggets I'm going to break this topic into today. But before we proceed, I want you to, if you've not watched the two videos I have made for this series, the first is about what the opposition needs to become for Nigeria to see change. The second is about what will eventually happen to us if we do not restructure now. These are the two videos I've done so far. They are on my YouTube channel. You can go there and watch it, share it with your friends, with your loved ones, because we need to start getting abreast. We need to start getting informed, having a holistic view of what we need to do. They say that two cannot work together except they agree. If we do not have something to agree on, how do we work together? Okay, so yeah, beginning with this last part of the series, which is the kind of restructuring that will most definitely work for Nigeria, the best so far. I'll begin with what I've studied, what have I learned over the years. I've listened to a lot of people, I've listened to a lot of organizations, I've listened to a lot of grievances, about the situation of things in Nigeria. So I've taken the pain to observe and to really learn and to sit back and say, what's really going to work for us. I've also perceived the fear of other people too, which is about the last part of this video. Obviously, I think the North are the ones holding us back from the structure, and I'll tell you why briefly. But before then, what have I studied? I've listened to the likes of Christy Moyelu, Showori, Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar. I've also listened to the grievances of the IPOB as well, IPOB, about their grievances with the way Nigeria is and why it's not working. I've listened to all of these things. Okay, I've also listened extensively to restructuring models that have been presented so far, for which we started with, people saying giving states full autonomy of states manage their resources, states their security, all of that, then contribute maybe whatever they generate from managing their resources. Maybe whatever they generate, they can give like 30%. I'm not sure of the figure, but I'm just saying, because they have to give something to federal, so that the federal government can run federal budgets, thereby, then federal government running federal projects they have to now reduce federal responsibilities, all of those things on the exclusive list, like security, education, all of that would have to go to states. So federal government will have very little responsibility to work on. So states will run their affairs, just like you have in the United States of America. Yeah. By the end of the day, this is not America. Nigeria is Nigeria, and we must look at our own problems, our own unique problems, unique to us, and see how we can bring about or create a unique solution to solve our problems. So like I've said, I've listened to a lot of models out there. The best I can resonate with right now is the one that was presented by Professor Kingsley Moyelu. That model triggered my mind, and I began to, study more on it. Yeah, he talked about, instead of states having autonomy, it becomes regional autonomy, because some states are too poor to govern themselves. They don't have resources, they don't have anything. So giving them autonomy is like sending them away, you know. So they don't have that capacity to govern themselves in terms of generating revenue and all of that, which I don't really believe. Everyone can be creative, but I also get that point because people need help right from time to time. So regional system of government would be helpful in a way because it gives the strength of regions to help themselves. Okay, but I think we'll take it further than that, which is the right model. The model I have been able to study and say, you know what, I think this can work for us. Yeah, this can work for us. And that model is something I've also looked at while looking at Great Britain, the United Kingdom of Britain. You know, I want to talk a little about that. You know, some of you that do not know the UK, I want you to know that the United Kingdom is made up of 4 countries. England, which is the biggest, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. These are 4 countries. They are countries because they have their own government, they have their own system and all of that. They have their own pounds, they have their own British pounds, they have the Scottish pounds, they have the English pounds. I'm sure of that. They have their own flags. You have the English flag, you have the Scottish flag, the Welsh also have their flag. I don't know about Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is small, it's supposed to be part of Ireland here. You know, they have their own football team. I'm sure you see that everybody sees that. You see in the World Cup, you see Scotland playing against England. Have that not ringed any bell in your head like what's going on? You don't see UK, United Kingdom, as a football team. And when I was much younger, I was thinking, UK has many names. That's what I was thinking. I said, okay, I think only them they answer Britain, only them they answer United Kingdom, only them they answer England. 3 names for one country. We didn't know what it was. It's actually the United Kingdom of Britain. England is a country. I think you've been able to get that now. So there are 3 countries there who do their things. Okay? Nigeria can work like that. Nigeria can work like that. We already have nations, 3 major nations in Nigeria, or 3 major regions in Nigeria. We had that in 1960 to 1966. The Northern region, the Western region, and the Eastern region. These were the 3 regions that were there. Some of you will say, why should we do restructure? We've already done that before, it didn't work, all of that. Yeah, because from 1960 to 1966, even though Nigeria was operating a regional system of government, we still had conflicts. People were still struggling for the center. That's because perhaps they see something in the center to share. Obviously, there's something there to share. So, because of that, there's this struggle for who's going to control the center. It has always been there. Okay? That's why it led to a coup, because it wasn't working. The political class, civilian political class were not able to run a country effectively. Everybody was affected. So it led to the first coup, which happened in 1966. Some people say it's Igbo coup, it's not Igbo coup. I don't want to go there though. Yeah, okay? But what are we going to do now that's going to be different from the 1960 form of government we had? How do we solve the problems that we had then and ensure that we have something beautiful now? That's the model I want to talk to you about. I've been able to tell you about the Kingsley Moyelu model and the British government, the British system. Putting it together, you see that what we have, what's it called now? What we have regions in 1966, regional government. These were not countries, they were regions. They were still under Nigeria, but they were regions. This time around, we're going to have countries. So these regions become countries of their own, just like you have in Britain. You can have your own naira. You can have your own flag. You can have your own policies. You can have your own football team. You can have your own names if you want. Yeah, it's possible. It's existing, so we can use that model. Right? You can have Biafra in Nigeria. You can have Ududua in Nigeria. You can have Arewa in Nigeria. If the Middle Belt feels they want to start on their own, they can have their own, with their names, with their code of arms, with their flag, with their own naira, with their own control and policies and all of that, their own territory. Yeah, so it's more or less like a confederation. A confederation is really what's going to work for Nigeria. Coming together of nations. Do you get it? That's the kind of idea that will bring peace. Everybody control your region. But we are also a part of a united, nations in Nigeria. What is the benefit? Some of you will say, what is the difference between what you are saying and outright division? There's a difference. Difference in the sense that there's partnership between the regions in terms of trade, free trade movement, collaborative security, in terms of defense, national defense, sharing of infrastructures. You can easily move from one region to another. For example, you want to attend a university in the eastern region, and you're from the north. You can easily go there and attend. You can go there and leave. You can do your business wherever you want, as long as you abide by the rules and regulations of that region. But if we divide, that's not possible. So I think that answers that question. The next thing is, talk about it more extensively. Is there anything I'm missing out? I think I'm not missing out anything on it. If you have a question, you can throw it down, brainstorm together. You can throw in your questions, put it on the comment section, and I can respond to it. The next thing is the fear of the North and why they're holding us back. Obviously, the only people who are delaying this restructuring plan is the North. Now, mind you, there is no other restructuring that's really going to work for the effectiveness of Nigeria and solve our problems as a people, looking at the concerns we have today, than this model. This model is the best. This model is the best. So, restructuring into countries, not regions, countries, is the way out. And that is what is really going to favor everybody. Now, also, in 1960 to 1966, I believe that the contributions that were coming from the regions were going to the center to run national issues. This time around, we're not going to have an account where people will begin to put in 30% as they have proposed for states. You're not going to put in 30% to run federal government. That 30% belongs to the federal government. I don't think that such things will work. If we do that, it's not different from what we had in 1960 that caused problems. This time around, we should have like an IMF. Yeah, IMF. Okay? Like the way World Bank operates. The 30%, I'm just saying 30%, it might be more, it might be less, I don't know, but I'm just using 30%. States or regions, or the countries now, who are now formed within Nigeria, will keep 70% to themselves and give 30% to the federal government. And for keeping. But this time around, it's not for sharing. We have like a national bank, a national treasury, a reserve, where that money is stored. That money that is stored is now being borrowed. You don't share it. You're not supposed to share that money around. You borrow it. Regions borrow it. Instead of going to UK or going to United Nations or going to US to borrow money, you can borrow money from there. We can even borrow other nations within Africa from there to pay back. So you borrow that money to solve whatever problem you have in your region. Let's say you want to build an airport in the north, for example, or in the west, or in the east, you want to build an airport. You can easily go to that contribution that serves as a reserve, borrow the money from there at very low interest rates, and build your infrastructure and start paying back. Failure to pay back, that infrastructure or whatever, the other parties will come into your region and seize it, just like the Chinese model. No hard feelings. Because this money is meant to run the country, is meant to keep things floating. So when the region, wants to be funny by borrowing money and not pay back, just like the attitude Nigeria has now, not being able to pay their debt, borrowing more than they can pay, you go to that place and take whatever they have as an asset. You will take it as an asset. Solves the problem. So they have a collateral. So you have a perfect lending and paying back system with their contribution. We contribute to the center. Now, when that happens, you discover that nobody will be struggling for national cake anymore. There's no national cake. Okay? Even the money you borrow, you have to state properly what you're going to do with it and all of that. If IMF can work, if World Banks can work, that can also work. So I'm not a financial guru. I'm not going to go into that, but something like that will be better. That's by the wayside. Yeah. You have your state police. You have your territories. You protect your regions by yourself. Even the militaries would have each regions will keep their military and unite. If you have a problem in the east, you want to send military there, you send eastern military men. You don't send other people. So, because I discovered that, you see that there's a complaint now that's saying that the military is aiding terrorism. That's because the military is dominated by the northern elite, or northern people. Sorry. Yeah, it's dominated by northerners. That's why you have them aiding military terrorist activities. Okay, but in the restructured country, it's balanced. It's balanced. So each of the regions have a quota of the military assets, military arsenals, military personnel within the region. So if there's any need for that, but I don't think there will be need for that, because naturally you're not supposed to see the military in your country. Most people don't see them. Their militaries are to protect the external affairs of the country, territorial integrity of the country, not inside the country like we are seeing today. What we are seeing today is the work of the police, special squad, and all of that. But because Nigeria is not working, the military is everywhere. You don't really see military elsewhere in other countries. You don't. The highest is police and other special squads. That's by the wayside. The North, why are they not afraid? Like I said, they feel they are landlocked, they feel they don't have enough resources, and if we should restructure and they are no longer in control of the resources as it is today, it's a problem. So they are afraid. They feel they are going to lose out. I understand their concern. Everybody would be concerned. I get that. But you also have to understand that the time to restructure has come. There's no two ways about it. We can't continue like this. Nigeria is not working. Everybody has to find a way to solve their problems. And if we don't restructure, we naturally give into division. People will pull out. That's just the way it is. Conflict will arise. That war we are trying to avoid, that crisis we are trying to avoid, will come up. So we have to restructure so that people can begin to manage their own destinies. The regions that say they don't want to develop is left for them. They wouldn't hold anybody back. But I believe that restructuring will have this heady competition that will allow regions, just like in the past, to strive and develop. You know, and that's it. The extreme north who wants to keep Sharia can do that under their own, territory. So the north is afraid because of so many reasons. But I can assure you, restructuring will be more beneficial to them than what we have now. Restructuring will be more beneficial to the north, to the west, than if we divide. Restructuring will give you access to infrastructures within other regions. It gives you access to the sea. It gives you access to fund. You know, you have enough money in the treasury, in the reserve to borrow from, to solve your problem and to invest. Restructuring will bring a healthy competition that will cause the region to grow and become the true giant of Africa that it should be, not by its population size, but by technical know-how and advancement and development. Restructuring will allow the North to become like Dubai, the West to become like US, the East to become like Germany or whatever. So this should be the goal. And I'm doing this video to inform Nigerians, not the government, not politicians. It is our call. When the Americans were ready for their independence, 50 people came together. 50 individuals within the country came together to sign and to say, you know what, we are pushing for it. And then George Washington was selected. When we were going for our own independence, Nigerians came together. You know, we're not waiting for the white people to leave. Our fathers stood up. When the black people were being tormented and they needed to be emancipated into the American system, the common people rose up. There's never been anywhere in the world where freedom, even in South Africa here, within the African continent, you know, there's never been anywhere in the world where people wait for leaders, political leaders, to do their biddings for them, to change their country, for them to change policies. There's nowhere in the world. So Nigerians folding their hands, waiting for that messiah of a leader to come, it's like you're waiting in vain. The common people have to rise up. And the responsibility falls to southern Nigeria more. I know I'm saying it. The responsibility falls on southern Nigerians more than any other people. The world is waiting for us. Africa is waiting for us. So let us arise and do the needful. And also I want to say that suppressing the truth, suppressing people who are speaking up, suppressing people who are agitating is not the solution. And that's why I'm calling on the federal government to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now. They should release him. There's no point holding that man there. Let us come to the table and discuss the way forward. Share this video with your friends and your loved ones. Think about these things. We need to start thinking about it, because out of the abundance of thoughts, we are prepared. We are fired up to rise up. We have to. In my last video, I told you, which is why what will eventually happen to us if we don't restructure now. I told you that the Jagba method is not sustainable. If you listen to watch that video, I tell you I talked about what is going to happen to us. You need to watch that video if you haven't. It's just 3 videos so far. I think this is the last for this series. Whatever I get again, I will share with you in the future. All right? Stay blessed. Stay strong. It's our call. See you some other time. Bye.